Probably the number one fear that I find amongst RC car hobbyists is the fear of gluing up tires. But if you don't glue tires on wheels, you're really limited in what type of tires you can have and what kind of wheels they go on. As long as they fit your car, that's fine. But what if you can't find a wheel that does fit your car? Now you're stuck with having to glue up a tire. What happens if you can't find the type of tire you need? And tires are the number one item in a car setup. If the tires aren't right, the rest of the setup is not going to work right. Okay, so let's get these tires glued up. I'll show you a few tricks that I've learned along the way, and your tires will stay on. Okay, we're going to need some basic stuff here. This is number one, okay? Isopropyl alcohol. Why this? Well, because moisture actually sets CA glue. Okay, it's not air, it's moisture that sets it. So we want something that's going to clean the oil, the release oils off our wheels and tires, but will dry quickly. Isopropyl alcohol does it quite well. Okay, of course you're going to need your glue. I've got two different glues here because I use two different methods. I use an eyedropper type pipette for this glue, and I can put enough glue in here to glue a full set of tires in there. It's very speedy. But you can also get the glue with these long tubes. And this is actually the third or fourth set of tires that I'm using this on. They don't have to be a one-use thing. Store your glue in the refrigerator. That way the moisture is very low and the humidity is very low in a refrigerator. Okay, so your glue will last longer. Not a freezer, just the refrigerator. Okay, also a nice cloth. I like these blue shop towels. They work really good, and when I get them all messy and stuff, I throw them away. Okay, no big loss. They're nice and absorbent. They seem to be nicer. They're usually much thicker than regular kitchen towels. If that's all you have, go right ahead and use it. If your wife or your mother has some old towels and whatnot, those are also a way to go. I use a hole punch because I was able to find one a few years back, but it's not necessary. I use that to put holes in these tires. Okay, the reason being, I want the water to fling out of these as I spin the tires, and it's very easy to do with this tool, but it's not necessary. You can take a wire cutter, pinch it like that, and just pinch a little V shape into there, and that just a little one. Okay, and that way your tire can let loose of the water when the tire spins fast enough. And if you're not careful, you take a shower, okay, when you rev up, especially your four-wheel drive, boy, that gets all four of them spinning pretty good. Another thing I use is something to hold the tire to the wheel as it's gluing. I have these nice fancy very easy to use bands from J Concepts. I love them. They're a little on the expensive side, but I'm an old guy, so I like my comforts. But a good rubber band, like the ones you find on Broccoli or at your greengrocers, will work terrific. Okay. Also, electrical tape works very good. Any kind of tape that you could wrap around the tire to hold the bead onto the wheel. Okay, that's the main thing. Because even though these set in a few seconds, okay, they dry in a few seconds. They don't set for at least 8 to 12 hours. I like to glue mine at least the night before, if not a couple of days before I use them. Okay, otherwise they don't have time to set, and they'll throw off your wheel even though you had them glued pretty good. Okay, all right. So number one thing is cleanliness, because cleanliness is next to impossible. Well, we take our shop towel, take my alcohol. I really like this because it's got a squeeze bottle here, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to clean the entire wheel, but you do have to concentrate on where the tire is actually going to get glued on the wheel, better known as the bead. Alright, go around there and make sure I got it good. I can usually see it's shiny and still wet, but the alcohol will dry long before I get to pour glue on it. Okay, and also get the insides of your tires, where the bead is, okay? Because this is where you really want to get the glue, even out in these corners, but the flat area is what really gives you your strength, okay? And the outer area helps, but that's more about sealing the tire. Okay, that's another reason why we put these holes in here, is because we don't want basketballs when we get them all set up. These wheels don't have any holes in them, and I don't want to put any holes in them because I like to clean my tires with soap and water, okay? But you've got to have the ability to get that air out of the tire. Otherwise, you're dealing with basketballs, not tires. Okay, they have to give a little bit, and then they'll come back. Believe it or not, even though those are very small holes, you probably can't even see them. They're so small. There's enough volume can get out of the tire that it'll work correctly. Okay, so now let's see. I think I've got both sides here. Yeah, looks like I did. If not, if you're not sure, do it again. You paid an awful lot for these tires and wheels. You don't want to mess them up. Okay. All right. So we got everything clean that's going to go together. The foam has to go into the tire. This happens to be a one-way foam. It's got a thinner side on this than it does on this one. And on this short course tire, it goes in with this thin part towards the 3.0 side. The thin side wall. Yeah, did you ever wonder what that 2.2, 3.0 meant? Well, they're talking about inches, and it's the diameter of the wheel. There's a 2.2 side and a 3.0 side. There's an interesting story about that. I'm pretty sure I know why they did that. It was because Traxxas and their infinite wisdom and their ability to make money, and I have no problem with that because they've done so much for the hobby. They came up with an idea is that, hey, why do we have to have two different tires? They had to have a different rim for the Slayer. Okay, I'm putting the bead, notice I put the tire all the way through there. I'm not seating the back bead, I'm seating the front bead. Seems to work better for me when I seat the front bead first. Okay, so you got to get it there, and then I like to rub back and forth to get that bead to actually sit into there, okay? Because there's a part that's sticking out right there, so, and I can go right up like this when I need to work a little more concentration, because you want that rubber to get seated into that as much as possible, because this is the part right in here we want to get the glue to the deepest, and then more glue on this surface here, okay, to seal it. Okay, so we've got that front sealed. We turn it over, and I like to kind of just pull on the wheel a little bit so that rim, or so the tire comes over the inside of the bead, but doesn't come out the other side. And just go around the wheel. You get a feel for it after a while. And then do the same thing, making sure that the bead is all the way in, all the way around. And that's the way you want your tire to look. Oh, see, that came out. Okay. Go back and forth, making sure both beads are on there. Like I say, once you put the glue on there, too late. It's all over but the crying. Okay. Alright. So now we got a great looking wheel. The only thing is, if we put that on the car and spin it up, it's going to fly off the wheel, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so we have to do the glue, okay? But before that, you want to make sure that while we're working with it, that bead doesn't come out of there. And we do that, that's why we use these bands. Holds it up there while we're working with the tire. So when we're working on this side over here, and popping out, okay? Seeing it happen, okay? The stuff wants to do when it wants to do, okay? You can use these capillary tubes, okay? This is a good way to do it. But if you're not careful, it only lasts for a set of wheels while you're doing them. What I like to do is leave the top intact. don't cut it. So when I put it back together again, it's tightly sealed. I can put it in a refrigerator in the other room. Okay, this is an old refrigerator we leave in the basement. Don't mix it in with the vegetables. Check with your wife if you've only got one refrigerator and ask her where you can put it. Tell her it's going to save money because you don't have to buy this $5-6 bottle of glue every time you have a set of tires to glue up. Okay, and I like to use the pipette. Reason being, I can put enough glue in this pipette to do an entire set of wheels and have a little bit left over, and I can just squeeze it back into the bottle. See how much I've got in there? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then I can reseal the bottle, put it back in the refrigerator, and I don't have to worry about it falling over. Okay, let's give you a close-up of what I was talking about as far as where to put the glue. I want to get it on that flat part. There's a kind of a squared off part that goes up against this rim, but we want to get it good and deep and on the flat part where these things meet together in the base, okay, because that'll give you your strength. Of course, the going around with the finish coat will seal it and keep it from coming loose and whatnot, but you really want to get down in that flat part there, and this is where these come in real handy. You see there, I got it all the way down in there. You don't have to get it 100%, because first of all the glue will flow, and you want to make sure you get that all the way in there, okay, but get it 4 or 5, maybe 6 places around the tire. Come back and seal the rest of it. Okay, what isn't already sealed. And we're getting right down in there. That main groove there. Especially on the front of these short course tires, or wheels I should say, you don't have to worry about getting too much glue. We don't want to get glue into the foam, but the front side are nice and stepped away from the foams. There really isn't much foam down in that area on most short course tires. On regular 2-wheel drive and truck tires and 2.2 truck tires and whatnot, there's going to be quite a bit of foam behind there. Alright, and I'll put a little extra. I like to get a little extra in there. See that bubble going around there? That bubble's going to find any place that's not already sealed, okay, because this glue is already starting to set up. It's too late to move that tire around now. That's why if you look real close at a well-glued tire, you'll see a little bit of glue all the way around, almost nice and even, because I'll use that bubble method there. Okay? Okay, now I've got a thin bead all the way around, as well as that glue on the inside on the flat part. So, in about an hour, I can turn this tire over. You want to let it set for at least an hour. Let the humidity in the room set it. Go off and watch a TV program or two. Come back later and do the back side pretty much the same way. You'll move your band to the other side of the tire so it holds that bead in there. Make sure your bead's all nice and set before you bring out the glue. Okay? That's the basics on how to glue your tires. Let it set for at least 8 hours after you get both sides glued, and your tires will stay on your wheels. Well, unless you're doing 300-mile-an-hour speed runs. Let me know if you're doing that, and if your tires stay on, I want to know how you did it, okay? Because we can always learn new things from other people. I'm still learning. The day you stop learning stuff is the day you die. All right? Good luck and happy motoring.